And welcome to another edition of South Texas Crossfire. This is Attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week right here on KTMB with the Lopez family. Special thanks to Don Humberto celebrating over 50 years of broadcasting, and my good friend Carlos Lopez, you guessed it, the Ted Turner of broadcasting. With me today I have a great friend of mine, good colleague, and we're going to be talking about immigration, a very important issue for everybody concerned here in this nation and worldwide. John Wong, how are you, John?
I'm doing good, Joe.
Hey, thanks for joining me. Listen, a lot of people have seen you around the courthouse and around town, and you've been in the belly of the beast out there fighting for everybody, but tell us a little bit about your education and training and background for the people out there.
Okay. Background, I guess, really briefly, went to school just like every other kid.
Where at?
In Houston.
Oh, okay.
I grew up in Houston. Yeah, I've been in the U.S. since I was 2 years old. So.
Your parents are immigrants?
Yes. My parents were born in Taiwan. I was born in Taiwan, but immigrated here to the U.S. In about 78. So I was 2 years old. And then just grew up just like every other kid, but helped out at the family business. They own restaurants still to this day.
In Houston?
In Houston.
And where are they? We'll give them a plug. Say hi to Mom and Dad.
Well, we got a new one in Acadie, Chains, and then we have our original in the Heights, open since '83, called Eastern. So that's just our family bread and butter.
And stop the presses here. What got you into the law then? Everybody's wondering out there.
Well, I think my mom brainwashed me when I was little.
Okay, and we've been there, all of us.
Gave me two options, doctor or lawyer, and I took the one that you had to go to school less years, and so I became the lawyer.
Well, that sounds real familiar, boy. That's the same. I was studying. I was going to go for medicine, and I went for law. And just,
Right.
And plus, it's great. So tell us a little bit about immigration and why you do immigration law.
Immigration law, why? Because I'm bilingual. I'm bicultural. When I go home, when I talk to my family, it's in Chinese. It's Mandarin. But as soon as I step out of the house, or when I'm in society in any city, I'm just like any other American kid.
Right.
So as far as practicing immigration, well, because I'm bilingual, I lived in Houston. There's a lot of Chinese, and at the time when I graduated from law school, a lot of immigration proceedings. At that time, it was more just processing and becoming, permanent residents and getting your citizenship, naturalization, whatnots, or visas. Now it's become more of a criminal proceeding.
And what do you mean by that? Why has it become criminal?
Well, it's 9/11 was the starting point.
Okay.
More stringent laws on immigration procedures, and applicants screened a lot more harshly, to protect society, to prevent, another 9/11, I guess.
And I do federal, once they're in illegally, I'll do that, but not the immigration. So I guess that's why you and I network together, is because you're doing the immigration. But I mean, what's your view on that? After 9/11, do you think that those are necessary protections, but have they gone a little bit too far?
Well, I think just like any law that we have, it is necessary. Laws is what, it's very important to our society. So there's always, two sides to the argument. I think the principle of having more stringent application and procedures for immigration, it's a good thing because it protects society. But how it's applied is the issue, I guess, and who qualifies, who doesn't. And I think after 9/11, the system got so clogged. I mean, there were cases and cases just filling up the court's docket, and not enough people to prosecute. At that time, Homeland Security prosecutors were just being plucked as soon as they apply.
Yes.
And to tell you the truth, I won cases not because I was good, but because the prosecutor was just not
modest, very modest.
So they beat themselves. But at that time, INS just became Homeland Security. Homeland Security took over, so they were kind of in its infancy stage as far as trying to protect society by, punishing those that need to be punished without citizenship.
Well, let me ask you this. A lot of people out there, it still remains cloudy. People are saying, okay, the immigration policy, there's so much hubbub. There's so much about immigration, building walls, keeping people out, deporting. For instance, the 15 million plus Hispanics that are already here that are undocumented. Okay, there's a lot about that and a lot of right on either side.
Right.
But let's look at the realities. What's a typical hearing? Oh, okay, let's start out first. Let's back up. Somebody comes to your office, they're illegal. Of course, you're their lawyer. You can't turn them in. I mean, you'd be disbarred. I mean,
Right.
you know, anything you tell, they're confidential. They come in and they say, let's use a Mexican, because it's frequently here, 3 hours from the border, a person of Mexican descent comes to you and says, I need your help. And of course, you have translators and everybody
Right.
there that speak fluently. And they come to your office, and how does the process start?
Well, before, it's just being illegal wasn't a crime. It's become, the situation has become where you're an illegal immigrant, unless, you know, you're in some states where, you know, being an illegal immigrant, you know, you would be probably punished or
Yes.
for it, persecuted for it. But now it's become, that would be the threshold situation to bring them, that they would come and visit me or any other immigration attorney. However, it's usually some attached crime to it. They're already in custody, in jail for a misdemeanor or whatnot, and
Arrested for marijuana, domestic violence, for instance.
okay. Well, domestic violence is a little bit more serious because
Let's
you know,
say if it was a
family-
Class A misdemeanor assault.
Okay, let's just say it wasn't. See, that's part of the reason why the DREAM Act is not yet passed, because they need to work out those little details on what constitutes
What's a
eligibility.
felony? What's a misdemeanor? Who
Right.
should be deported? Who shouldn't?
Right. How many
But-
misdemeanors would equal to you know, the seriousness of
All
a
right,
felony
well, that
and
makes
whatnot.
sense. A lot of people don't understand that, you know, you get popped for weed or drinking or something, you get taken in for misdemeanor, you get arrested for that, and that's when the INS stuff pops up.
Right. Before if you're illegal immigrants, you get caught, you're 19, or you know, you get caught with a beer, or you're 21, you get caught stealing some gum. If you get caught, you go to jail, either you get probation or dismissed, whatever, you come back and you're part of society again. Now, if you were to come out, there will be a hold.
INS hold,
An
immigration,
INS hold,
naturalization.
exactly. INS, I still call it INS, but you know, it's Homeland Security.
Homeland
You can call it ICE, with Immigration Customs
Customs
Enforcement. That's just another name for them, but they're all doing the same thing, is trying to, you know, keep streets safe, which that is the whole point, and I understand that. It's the application of these laws that you know, people have problems with, even me. But the point is that once there's an INS hold on you, so even if you were released, you will be picked up by ICE, and depending on how serious the crime is, they will probably initiate deportation proceedings. Most likely they will. And the way that works is you're going to have an initial hearing, just like any criminal courts that we have in any county. And then you're going to have a master hearing, which is basically the trial. And at that time, before that, you can also apply for bond. Now it's become very hard to get out on bond, probably impossible these days. But when I first started, I was able to bond out some of these, I guess, illegal immigrants. But these were probably attached with some type of asylum proceeding, or they're applying for asylum, or I mean, it wasn't even that bad. They could have been smuggled in, not even willingly, and then get deported back, but they're still constitutionally allowed bond.